Hi, Wyatt White here at the Jewel School workshop, and I am bringing to you today the bend back ring. Today we're going to be using 22 gauge German style wire, and we're going to be using 20 gauge purple Colorcraft wire. We're going to be doing a technique that I call bend back, so let's jump into that. I think you're going to like what we do today. First thing we need to do is get the purple wire, and we're going to need about 22 inches of that. So I'm going to measure back here. That's 12 and 13 and about 22 inches. So I'm just going to bend that real quick, make the cut, and then we need the same amount of the 22 gauge wire. And that's the German style. So it's a little bit harder temper, and I like using the smaller wire so that we have a little bit of variance in how the ring is gonna look. Because the bend back technique is really cool because it allows you to get two colors of metal together. So we're going to make a circle in the center of this wire. So we want it to be pretty much equal if we can. Well, I'm just having a little trouble with this wire. There we go, and just gonna bring this down. And I want just a little tiny circle right in the center here, just like that. Okay, probably, yeah, there we go. Can we zoom in on that just a little bit so they see that? Beautiful. Okay, this is what I need in the in this wire. Now I'm going to use that same size wire. I better measure this. So about 22 inches of 22 gauge. And then we're going to insert this wire into our little circle here so we can get started with my bend back method. So we've got this here, and this is gonna need to be also right in the center. Only what I do here is I'm gonna squeeze that loop down so that it pretty much holds on to the 22 gauge wire. And then I'm gonna bend the 22 gauge wire up, and you'll have one wire go to the left and one wire go to the right. And so I'm gonna just get that nice and tight here, just pull it, and then I'm gonna turn, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the purple wire. And this first one's a little tricky to get going, but you're gonna put this to the right side of the other purple wire. So basically I've got one wire on the right, one wire on the left, and they're gonna crisscross right in the center of where the silver wire went. And then we're in position to do the opposite again. So the right wire stays on the right side. The left wire comes straight across. You want to keep this nice and straight. Make sure that what you're building down here is coming up straight as well. So left to the left, right to the right. You may have to pull it sometimes to get it nice and tight, just like so. And then you can reposition it by moving the whole thing, or you can just bend to the sides. I like to kind of be looking exactly at what I'm bending. So that goes over and this comes back. That's where the title of this comes from, because you're just bending this wire back and over, making sure to keep it on this one because it's on the right side and this one's on the left side. You just bend that forward and then bend this one back over the top, just like so, and then pull it. Now, why the wires need to be in a specific place is so that you have symmetry in here. So you see, if you have this silver wires on this side, let's see if I can get that in there for you. Yeah, so the silver wire one is to the left, one is to the right, and then another one to the left. And the same with the purple on this side. That's why we want to do this carefully and make sure that this wire that's on the right stays on the right, and this wire that's on the left stays on the left. And you just keep the bend back method going. And you'll notice that as you get a little bit of a handle here, it becomes much easier to turn this and also to make the bends, because you have a really good place to grab a hold of. So just keep going. Keep the wires as straight as possible, obviously. And then just keep that going back and forth. You see that it's easier to hold on to it and just turn it. That keeps me knowing where I am and what I need to do. So bend that, bend this, and just keep going. So what we're doing is we're forming one side of the ring, and as soon as we get to 1.25 inches of this material done this way, then we're going to separate the two purples and put some beads on the purples so that we can make our fabulous little group of beads to be the top and center of the ring. So back and forth, back and forth. And it goes quicker. Don't worry too much about where you are. I'm gonna just size this real quick back here. Yeah, I've got about another 1/4 inch to go. Doesn't really take that long. Also, you can think about doing a bracelet. When you're doing a bracelet, unless you have some connection in the center, you'd need a lot more wire than what we've got for the ring. So just keep that in mind. I haven't figured out with varying gauges how much wire is actually necessary for like a 6-inch or a 7-inch bracelet that would be a cuff bracelet. I've got a whole lot more work to do with this technique to be able to let people know even what the same wire sizes would be, because you're going to use you will be using more of the bigger wire because it's got farther to go than the smaller wire does because just of the diameter. So there's still some questions there that I need to answer that haven't been answered just yet. Okay, let's see if we've got 1 1/4 inches. And we're right at 1 1/4 inches. Okay. Because we're at the 1 1/4 inches, now I want to slide on 2 beads onto the left side. And we want to bring them on this plane, and we want them to be just kind of nice and tight right there. Okay? So just 2 beads just right there. Now we've got this other one coming up, and we need to put 2 more beads on that side. So the opposite side also gets 2 beads. And that should leave 1 more bead for the center top. Okay. So now I need to bend this up so that it's beside the other 2 beads, and they form a nice little square, just like so. Okay, now I'm going to put this down to the side so that we can begin to firm this up just a little bit more. So this goes down and this goes across it. Nice and snug here. Then over the top, we're gonna take the last of the 5 beads that you need. And these happen to be 6mm amethyst beads, which work really great, I think, with the purple and the silver. And then I just place that just over that, right like that, so that it kind of makes a little 5 bead little grouping. So this is going to go across on the right side, and then this comes up from the bottom and on the left side. Now this is a little wonky here, W-O-N-K-Y, meaning that it doesn't hold together so good. So you've got to hold it, especially when you start pulling the thicker wires over, because you want this to be a nice, tight, flat bend back here. And I've somehow got these 2 wires crossed, but that's okay. I was able to uncross them. And then I pull this nice and tight, make sure these are in there nice and tight before I pull this one over, and then pull this one against this one to come back the other way. Now I'm ready to continue and do another 1 1/4 inch piece on the other side. So I have the silver across here, and now I'm going to go for the purple. And make the turn. Well, this is just watch to make sure you don't have too much looseness there. This one goes over, this one comes back. This one goes over, this one comes back. And it's literally just the same thing again that we did before, only now we're on the finished side of this, the ring. So it's a pretty easy thing to do. You notice we're not using many tools. And the reason that is because it's just easier not to mar the wire if we don't use tools. So if you are using tools with something like this, you might want to try it without the tools first to see if you can't get it done, because neither of these wires is really, really hard. And the more you use tools, the more you're going to scar up the wire. And of course, we want a ring to be pretty pristine, because we're gonna wear it by and knock it into things, and so it's gonna sustain some damage. So we want it to be as pristine in the beginning as possible. So that just bends down. This comes over here, and just keep going. Now, this is definitely a therapeutic thing. You can also, after this is over, you can bend it. You can make earrings out of something like this. You could eliminate the bottom part of this, and this could actually be an earring, which would be fun. So lots of possibilities with this. You could even make a neck ring like this. You just have to have a lot of wire at hand and figure out a way to maybe splice it, so you don't have all of these crazy wires flinging around in your face. So I always cut more wire than I actually need, just in case, because you don't want to get here and have one of these wires be too short and not be able to finish the piece. And yes, I've done that many, many times. And then you just have to start over, or make a really small ring, or somehow make it into a pendant. Don't toss anything or cut it apart. I say if it's done, and you should definitely keep it, if it's nothing better than to remind you of what not to do next time. All right, I'm gonna measure, and we want about 1 1/4 inches. That gives you plenty of left over with the distance from the 2 bead length here to 1 1/4 inches, 1 1/4 inches 2.5 plus whatever that is, really helps you to be able to have a nice big adjustable ring that'll fit just about anybody. Okay, let's check it now. That's looking pretty good. So right at 1.25 inches. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna finish the other end. This time, this is sometimes a complicated thing. What I figured out works really, really well is to just bring this smaller wire all the way around the purple wire. Just make a complete circle. I don't know if we can get in there and really zoom in right on here. Oh, just like that. Beautiful. Okay, so you want it to be just like that, wrapped all the way around. And then get in here with your cutter and cut that off right like so. Now you're gonna do the other thing, the same thing on the other side. And I'm using the smaller of the two wires, which is the 22 gauge. And I'm just gonna bring this up against here, like so. And then I'm gonna squeeze this to cut it. And now before I get any farther, I'm gonna just kind of squeeze this wire just like this to make that get in nice and tight. And then we're gonna cut this right as close to that coil that I just made. And do the same on this side. So squeeze, push and squeeze, and then cut. All right, so there's gonna be a little bit of sharpness, but what you can usually do is take this and just mash a little bit to kind of get those sharp edges out of the way and not quite as sharp. Now, I'm gonna do the cut just a little bit more there and see if I can't squeeze that down under that wire just a little bit so that we don't have those sharp edges. Okay, now all we need to do is form the ring onto our ring mandrel. Figure out the size that you'd like to make it so that we can but I'm gonna make this about a size 7.5. So just hold it with the beads and then just bring these down and around. And then make sure this one bypasses the other one so that you have that distance in between. Now, what you need to do in order to make that actually to the size is you've got to go down smaller. So I'm going around the 6.5 portion of this ring mandrel so that I can finally have the 7.5 that I want. I may have to go a little smaller on this just because this wire is now pretty, the tensile strength has been increased because of the amount of wire that's now on it. You can also use your bail making pliers to help with these additional bends to get it just a little tighter in here, because your fingers do a good job, but with 4 pieces of wire braided like that, it does take a little bit of a toll. All right, so now we've got our ring. It's a little bit larger than I think a 7.5 right now. Well, just a skosh smaller, or larger, excuse me. Now, if you want, you can poke in these wires that are coming straight across here for a little bit more of a custom look. So what I would suggest you use is a portion of the bent chain nose to get in here and do just like that. And then to the side so that you have a little bit of a down bend right there. Oops, there you go. So now I'll do the same on the other side. I think the side works a little bit better. And that just kind of customizes the wire shape there so that you can, so it just looks a little bit more finished. So that is your bend back ring. I hope that you can use that this technique to do more of these, as well as try other gemstones, just what have you. It's a wonderful method by which you can make thinner wires stronger so that you can do more with them. I'm Wyatt White. I'm sure glad that you joined me today at the Jewel School workshop. I certainly enjoyed teaching you. You can always join me Friday mornings on Jewel School Extra, Create It with Wyatt, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks so much.